Welcome to my channel, History in Shadows. Tonight, we are uncovering one of the most horrifying and forgotten tragedies in American history. A story that was buried, erased from textbooks, ignored for nearly a century. This was not a war overseas. This was not an attack from a foreign enemy. This happened in the United States, in the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. In 1921, an entire community was destroyed in less than 24 hours. This was the Tulsa Massacre. And what happened that night still haunts America today. Pause. To understand the horror, we must first understand what Greenwood was. Because before it was ashes, it was something extraordinary. In the early 1900s, Greenwood was a thriving black community. So successful, so wealthy, that it earned a powerful nickname: Black Wall Street. It wasn't just a neighborhood. It was an economic miracle. There were black-owned businesses everywhere. Banks, restaurants, hotels, movie theaters, doctors' offices, law firms. Families built lives. Children grew up surrounded by ambition. Greenwood represented something rare in America at the time: freedom and prosperity, despite segregation. But that success made others angry. In a deeply racist America, the idea of black wealth was seen as a threat. And in 1921, that tension exploded into violence. It began with a rumor. A young black man named Dick Rowland entered an elevator downtown. Inside was a young white woman named Sarah Page. Something happened. Maybe he tripped. Maybe he grabbed her arm to steady himself. No one knows the full truth. But within hours, the story twisted into something dangerous. Newspapers claimed Rowland had assaulted her. The city ignited. A mob formed. And soon, they demanded blood. Dick Rowland was arrested, taken to the courthouse. And by nightfall, hundreds of white citizens gathered outside. They wanted him lynched. This was America in 1921. Lynching was not rare. It was terror. A message. And Greenwood knew exactly what was coming. So a group of black veterans, men who had fought for America in World War I, arrived at the courthouse. They came to protect Rowland. They came armed. Not to attack, but to prevent another lynching. But the mob saw their presence as an insult. Tension grew. Voices rose. And then, a single shot was fired. No one knows who fired first. But it didn't matter. Because after that, Tulsa descended into hell. The mob surged toward Greenwood. What happened next was not a riot. It was not chaos. It was organized destruction. White mobs marched street by street, burning homes, shooting residents, looting businesses. Greenwood was attacked like an enemy city. Eyewitnesses described bodies in the streets, families running through smoke, children screaming. And then, something even more terrifying: planes. Yes, planes flew over Greenwood. Some survivors later claimed the aircraft dropped firebombs. Imagine that. An American neighborhood bombed from above by its own citizens. By morning, Greenwood was burning. More than 1,200 homes were destroyed. Businesses reduced to rubble. Churches turned into ashes. And thousands of black residents were left homeless. Some were rounded up, placed in detention camps, forced to carry identification tags just to move freely. It was martial law. but only for the victims. The official death toll was reported as around 36. But historians believe the real number could be far higher. Possibly over 300 dead. Many bodies were never recovered. Some were buried in unmarked mass graves. And then came the silence. For decades, Tulsa did not speak of Greenwood. Schools didn't teach it. Newspapers avoided it. Survivors were told to forget. Insurance companies refused to pay for damages. Families rebuilt with nothing, while the city moved on. It was as if Black Wall Street never existed. As if the massacre never happened. A wound covered up, instead of healed. And that may be the darkest part of all. Not just the violence, but the erasure. America buried the story because the truth was too shameful. Greenwood was proof of black success. And the massacre was proof that racism was not only prejudice, it was destruction. A system that could not tolerate equality. Even today, the legacy remains. Survivors lived long enough to see the world finally acknowledge what happened. But many died without justice. Without reparations. Without apology. The ashes of Greenwood still whisper a question. How could something so horrific be forgotten? Pause. Because the Tulsa Massacre was not just history. It was a warning. That prosperity can be attacked. That truth can be buried. And that darkness doesn't disappear just because no one talks about it. Thank you for watching History in Shadows. If you want more stories the world tried to erase, subscribe and stay curious. Good night.